Senator Scott Fitzgerald intentionally blocked this bill last week, but the governor's comments and an amendment being drafted today could still give it hope. Despite all but 3 Republican senators supporting Senate Bill 300, Scott Fitzgerald used a procedural move last Wednesday to intentionally block it from coming to the floor, a tactic new to Governor Walker.
I haven't seen that in the past. I served years ago in the legislature.
The governor says his optimism regarding the bill's future is not based on conversations with legislative leaders, but simply on the overwhelming support the bill has in both houses.
I wouldn't be surprised within the next week or so, considering the number of people on both sides of the aisle that have been supporting this. I wouldn't be surprised if in the end, if that's not something that ultimately gets passed, at least through the Senate, maybe in the Assembly. Certainly if it does, we'll take a look at it.
But new moves are being made before Tuesday's floor session in the Senate. The Republicans opposed to the bill say they don't like it because it requires insurance companies to cover oral chemotherapy drugs at the same level they cover intravenous chemotherapy. Senator Paul Farrell says that amounts to a mandate from the government, so he's working on a compromise amendment.
We would put together a grant program for individuals that require oral chemotherapy. We would set a threshold for out-of-pocket expenses. If it reaches a certain threshold, they could apply for this grant.
That grant would be for anyone with an out-of-pocket oral chemotherapy expense above $350 a month, paid for with $3 million from the state's general fund.
The last thing we want to do is say no without having an alternative. And I think that's what this amendment is.
Now, along with that grant fund, Senator Farrell's amendment would also call on the Department of Health Services to conduct a 1-year study to try to determine why the costs of oral chemotherapy drugs are so much higher than those of intravenous chemotherapy drugs. Now, we asked whether he will be able to get enough support for the amendment from Republicans, and Senator Farrell would only say it should be interesting. Live at the Capitol, Greg Newman, 27 News.
All right, thanks.